Okay. I'll call this January or July 14th, 2025 regular council meeting to order. As always, we would like to acknowledge tonight we're meeting again on Treaty 5 territory, a homeland of the Opaskwayak Cree Nation, as well as many other indigenous people, and as well as the Red River Métis people and their nation. So with that, we'll call the meeting to order. Just to, as a note, regrets from both Councillor Allen and Councillor Forster. Somebody should have a resolution to adopt the agenda.
So we're doing, is there any amendments? We can put it on the regular meeting in camera.
I would like an in-camera, simple discussion, not even discussion, would be more of a statement per se.
Move on myself, so Councilor Atkinson, resolve that the agenda be adopted as amended.
Anything further? Seeing none, call the questions, all in favor? So tonight we're 5-0 carried. Okay, somebody should have confirmation of minutes.
Resolution number 2025-129, moved by myself, second by Councillor Hopper, resolved that minutes of the regular council meeting, June 23, 2025, be hereby approved. All statutory declarations have been complied with.
Any comments, concerns with regards to the minutes? Everybody had a chance to look at them? Seeing none, call the question, all in favor? Opposed, none, carried. Okay, recognition period. Anybody got any great recognition of all the great things our community or people are doing out there?
There's so many to mention, all those we need.
Well, I have a couple. I mean, I thought the Canada Day celebrations were very well done. It was great to see our Town of the Paw staff put in a parade. Our Calcium Recreation and the museum done a great job. So thank you to the summer students that were helping out there and painting faces. I tried to get my face painted. They said I was too old and my head forehead was too big.
You say it looks pretty good.
Yeah. And then the parade was great. I guess just special recognition to the Kinsmen, Rotary Club and cadets, Andrew Legacy, and there was a whole pile of other people that made that day possible. So thanks for that. And then for the parade, I think there'll be some winners going in there. The only thing I would also mention, or if everybody remembers the Community Safety and Wellbeing Fund that we went on that journey about a year and a half ago. There's been a lot of work done behind the scenes by a bunch of people volunteering their time on the side of their desk, other community organizations. And they're getting very close to bringing forward the plan to council to show us and the actions that go along with that. So stay tuned, but thanks to everybody that's getting it to the finish line of this phase of it. Anybody else have any?
In addition to the parade, I'd like to also thank Minister
Oh, yeah. Minister Rebecca Chartrand was here.
for coming and joining us. There were many places throughout her writing that she could have chose that may have had a so-called bigger or better event, and she chose us. So that was great to know that, that we were part of that.
And some recognition to her. She plans on coming back and she wanted to have a meeting on Canada Day, but I suggested a wait till we get our council together and sort of have a little bit more formal sit down. So I didn't want to scramble everybody on Canada Day for a meeting. So I did have just a chat with her and shared some of the general concerns and the ideas that we have with regards to economic development in our area. So it was good.
This last one, even though it is a couple weeks old, we haven't had a meeting since that date that Councillor Hopper and I weren't present. But big congratulations to all the grads.
Yeah.
And the committee itself for running it over a 2-night period, which caused us to miss. I couldn't imagine sitting there for 5 hours like the old days like it was, but it was a great event and nice to see all of our, hopefully, potential new educated people staying in the ball.
Future leaders, future councilors, future mayors, future municipal superintendents, CAOs, absolutely, no, it's great, and that's, I'm glad you brought that up, Counselor, is that's one event is nice to attend to see the positivity and, you know, even though it's long, it's great, and the same thing with UCN, had the honor to sit through that grad as well, and it was a great event.
The future superintendents, that's like 30 years.
Yeah.
Start getting rid of
Yeah.
No, it is such a huge event in the community.
Yeah.
And it went without a hitch. There was some concerns, as there always is, as things are winding up, but having like an ex-counselor and Mr. Forward holding such an important position to make, he was the chair of the whole thing, and it went off without a hitch, so.
The
it was
parade was awesome.
And the parade, yeah.
Good, if there's nothing else, citizen period. We have two citizens here tonight.
Yeah,
Is this thing running? Is not? Oh, you just have it shut off then. Okay.
so my name is Jessica Pelpo, this is Theo, live at
Hi, Theo.
7th Street East, and I'm just here to ask if if you guys would be able to purchase changing tables and install them in the Winton Pool changing rooms.
Great idea.
Because me and Theo love to go swimming, and we're so happy that the pool's back up and running and stuff, and going to swimming lessons, and I noticed that some of, like, I have to change Theo, get him dressed on the benches, which isn't necessarily safe.
Yeah.
And then I know in the male's changing room, same thing, there'd be nothing for them, so if my husband were to take the baby. And then possibly purchasing pack and plays, so then after you change them, you can sit them in the pack and play, and so you yourself could get changed.
Yep.
So,
No, that's a great idea. I appreciate you bringing that forward. I would never have thought of that, and
Yeah.
I'm
Sure,
sure
used to be change tables.
I,
not changing tables, but when I worked at the pool, there was pack and plays that we would set up. And then tear it down, but then they get used so much, so. That was the baby, that was a long
Yeah,
time ago.
we'll pass that on to our CAO
Yeah.
and the staff. I don't see that being an issue. It looks like council's pretty supportive of something like that. Anything else?
That's.
Well, thanks for coming. That was an easy one.
Yeah,
I thought you were gonna ask for your taxes to be lowered or raised or something.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah, just, if you don't see something in the next little while, if you wanna just touch bases with our CAO, Bola, and she can kind of give you a timeline if there's any issues and stuff like that. You know, that we work at lightning speed with municipal politics and governance and stuff. Okay, good, thank you. Yeah, moving along here, just seeing no other citizens, 911 shingles.
Resolution 2025-130, moved by myself, second by Councillor Hopper, resolve the council accept the bid from Hanratty Construction for an amount not exceeding 15,000, including tax and shipping.
So just regular maintenance of our buildings, any issues, seeing none, call the question, all in favor, opposed, carried. Okay, 9111.
Resolution number 2025-131, moved by myself, second by Councillor Hopper, whereas town put out a tender for asphalt paving rehabilitation for 2025 paving and patching, and only one bid was received. Therefore, be it resolved, the council accept the bid submitted by Maple Leaf Construction in the amount of $1,500,000, including taxes.
Again, just for people in viewing land, you know, if you look at the issue sheet, this is St. Kitard, so from McDonald Street to Campbell, to refresh that area, St. Kitard to Cathedral Avenue, 3rd Street, to First Street, which is Cook Avenue. And then as well, something that we've been talking about for quite some time is to finish off our recreation of the wellness center parking lot. I know Sam and his team have created a bunch of other areas that we've had some digs over the years, and there'll be a bunch of patching going on as well, so welcome refresh, but just for people to know, this is $1.5 million, and it only scratches the surface of all the work that's being done. We do know that there's areas in the community that may need more. And there is some studies going to be done this year on the area around Traeger and Bagshaw or and stuff, so that we know. Have a better idea of what we can plan for in the future, because that would likely be a debenture.
Yeah, I was just gonna follow up on your last comment there on the, you're talking about the shaving page or the humps and Traeger, and also the excavator or drilling, looking to see what the base is gonna be like in the other street over there.
We're gonna see what, the humps, we're not sure yet, the investigation to see what the best approach is for sure. Coming into this year's, the end of this year with this project.
Oh, that's good. Go ahead, Professor.
Sorry.
With there being a slight difference of about $200,000, whatever, $75,000. You were looking at doing the ditch drainage, not part of this scope in this picture, but can we, I'm just addressing now, hopefully can we ensure that we either put up bollards or something to make sure that the edge of the asphalt gets completed, because we know how many people like to drive onto the grass.
Yeah.
I know you don't want regular 6-foot curbs or 6-inch curbs because your loader's gonna end them up in the parking all the time, but it'd be nice to
Yeah,
have
we're
bollards.
we're thinking about some sort of, that's a
Yeah.
great point, some sort of traffic option there, just to so people don't infringe, because you're
Yeah,
right, once they
because you know
drive
it's
over
gonna
the edge, it
it'll
starts
look like
to.
number 60 highway where the edges are all wearing off. And just to define the area properly, make sure we get it finished. That's
No,
all.
absolutely.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're all on the same page for that, so call the question, all opposed, seeing none, carried. Good news, when will the work start?
August 2nd is the proposed start date for
Perfect.
relief. I'm gonna call our contact after tonight and sort of start the ball rolling.
I have seen them in the area already, so that's a good sign.
Yeah. Okay, fire services hose tester, line 3-1.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Atkinson.
$7.24.
Any questions, comments, with regards to the check registry?
Just comment that, we paid out a fair amount of our grants in this pay period.
Yeah, I actually had that as well, and I'll make that comment, on this pay period, we've, put out about $70,000, the community, grants out to, different organizations. As well as, if you just look at Tricom and the library, the servicing grants that we provide there is another $330,000, so. It's almost 2 mil rates and grants going out this, pay period, which are good news. What I would suggest though, Bola, is when, we do hand out the checks to the regular grants, not so much the library and the Tricom. That we get some advertisement in the papers and so people know where the grants are going. I know we've said it once already. But just so that there's some advertisement.
Maybe the recipients want to come to the council meeting and get their check.
Exactly.
Okay.
So seeing no further questions, call the question, all in favor? Opposed? Carry. Okay. Public Interest Disclosure Act.
Resolution number 2025-134, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Manage. Resolved that council approve 2025 Public Interest Disclosure Act, PIDA, procedure for the town of the Ball.
So for people to know out there, this is to really support transparency and protect whistleblowers in case there was some concerning issues. I didn't, off the top of my head, but more non-compliance, something illegal going on, those type of things. So this just develops a procedure to be able to address that and to protect people that are involved in the process. Seeing no questions, call the question, all in favor? Opposed? None, carried. Okay, committees and reports and cheat sheet out there. Museum board,
Well, our next meeting is next month. So, and then we already spoke about the museum. We serve cake, popcorn and pretzels and drinks and everything. They had quite a few people there.
yeah, I heard nothing but positive stuff from
Yeah.
people, especially with kids.
Yeah, a lot of them didn't come downstairs, but, yeah, we pretty well ran out of the goodies and
Yeah.
everything, so.
No, it was a
It was
great
well
time.
mannered, so it was very good.
Yeah. Chamber,
No meeting, taking a summer break.
CDC, you'll see a few things on the list tonight. On our agenda, marketing, destination marketing's not here, Cedar Lake.
Excuse me, our regular board meeting is on the 23rd and our AGM is on the 24th of this month.
Recycling, we're trying to have a meeting for July 31st with the funders. Hopefully, the plan is to have we've got the constitution or the bylaws, whatever has been reviewed and more or less ready to go. What we'll do is we'll call an AGM to get them passed officially and then look for some new members. Library board is not here, Kelsey School Division, nothing. And youth counselor, I guess, just on the youth counselor front, we should probably make that request to FBCI for another youth counselor sooner than later. So when, or to Kelsey School Division. Can set us up with somebody to read the hard ones.
I'm curious, how does that process happen for selection? Like, it seems as if they're kind of being selected either by the principal or.
Yeah, I think it's just by the principal.
Yeah,
It's by, at the new academic year, which is September.
Right.
I'll send the letter to the school. The school will do the advertisements, and so anyone that has interest, we show the interest and then forward that to us.
okay, yeah,
Last
like
year-
I have absolute faith in Mr. Berry making a good selection, but it would be nice to, if we did have 4 or 5 that are interested, it'd be nice to have a selection criteria or some way for them to, in a sense, get elected to that position, right? Rather than just being a appointment, it would be,
That would be
nice to see it. Not run an election.
Yeah.
That might discourage, but
That's
I
okay.
said, just a.
That would be
selection.
great, because last year,
think
it
there
was
was-
so hard to get somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even if you did get multiples, it would be nice to see, because they typically run that 8 or 9 months of the year. To maybe take some turns to get that exposure to the joys of political world.
Let's see the number of applications.
see what they get.
Yeah. That's a good point. Okay, so some reports there, CSO incident report, so just for people out in the world to know. A couple of weeks back, oh, sorry, I missed, any other updates, mayor or council? Okay, so on to the reports, the CSO, so a couple of weeks ago, just for people to know, our CSOs were parked at a stop sign, not parked, but stopped at a stop sign. And 2 vehicles, ended up, running into each other. One of the vehicles or 2 of the vehicles ended up, colliding with the CSO truck that was stopped at a stop sign. The damage is about $5,300 or $5,800 based on the estimate. I'm assuming this is covered by those people's insurance.
MPI, I'm still waiting for the report, but based on my understanding, it's covered by the insurance and there will be one responsible for the payment.
Yeah. So the sooner we can get that, truck repaired, the better. Thank you for that. So then, next thing is this, very detailed, wildfire report from the fire department, so. For those out there in the viewing land, if you're interested in seeing what activities were happening over the span of those days from May 3rd to May 12th, kind of shows you all of the activities and work that was going on. What I've taken out from here is I looked at the lessons learned, and so I like the fact that we're talking about early detection and prevention type of things as our one of the key things about public awareness and preventing fires and protecting ourselves. And I think Councillor Manich has even brought up the fact that, you know, we can do some controlled burns early in the year to sort of reduce any of the risks around the community. And then also we've been talking about some clear cutting and stuff like that to put some fire barriers in if we have risk areas. But I think council is still waiting for a risk report to come to us, tell us where we want to go. The other thing is, there was a good point, the mental health support. I would have thought that our firefighters would be covered under, I don't know, maybe somebody else knows, but our firefighters would be covered under EFAP within the community. So yeah, so I think we should make sure that that posting and that information is available to anybody that's requiring it, whether you're a firefighter or not.
And if you remember from some of the information that's been shared with council, we do have members on this department that have had critical incident stress management training, that hopefully they have a resource within themselves also to support each other.
Yeah. Actually, write that down.
Just compliment the fire chief on this report.
Yeah.
Very detailed, as are all reports we receive from administration downward, and a lot of time goes into that. It's just not something you sit down and off the cuff. So it's great. You didn't have to ask any question after you read it.
And it was nice, he did send out, the fire chief did send out Manitoba, sort of a thank you to Manitoba Wildfire, OCN Fire Department, the Office of Fire Commission, Club Fawn, Snow Lake, Creighton, Minnetonka's, the RCMP, Hydro, so, and then just in the general, the community members have just supported that whole incident, and hopefully, we don't see much more of those in the future. But, who knows, better be prepared. On top of that, if there's no questions with that, we did get a donation by Global Medic of a 275 gallon wildfire skid unit. I know there's some information within this group in this thing about sort of grabbing an old truck somewhere. I don't know how that's possible. We have an old truck around, but I look forward to learning a little bit more about that. Any further questions with that? The tickets issued, so if you look at the report from the CSOs, people they might see that they may not see what's happening all the time, so great by the CSOs and BOLA to bring forward some visibility on this. So you can see they have 2 schedules of tickets they issue. Schedule A is an initial written warning that they hand out to property owners within the town regarding the bylaw 4649, advising them if there's any issues. So they issued 7 of those. And then Schedule B is sort of like a follow-up order. It means that the issue is still there and it hasn't been addressed within the time period that is needed to be done. And so now they're facing other possible actions at the owner's expense. So seems to be a good report. I don't know if anybody else has any comments.
So in June, excuse me, we issued 46 Schedule As, and by the end of June, there were only 5 of those that were left.
Yes, that's a good news, because in June, we experienced a lot of grass.
Yeah.
People are not picking their garbage and some other things, and we had a meeting with the CSO. So they went out and they actually distributed a lot of, we issued a lot of tickets, and we noticed that within a week, most people have already cut their grasses, instead of us pushing it to Schedule B, having the same policies, so it turned out to be 5.
So 41
we are
are
ready
compliant,
to-
that's great. Perfect.
Any other questions regarding the report?
I just want to say, thank you for this, because that's kind of what I've been asking for, just to say, hey, this is what we are doing, this is what we're accomplishing, so it's great to see it. I guess in terms of what Councillor Atkinson just mentioned, it would be nice to see that breakdown, as much as you explained it here, to say, hey, we're getting pretty good compliance and areas. To know if 46 letters go out, the stats don't really indicate what our success rate is, right? Because some of the 5 that are Schedule Bs could be from other months that we're getting compliance.
Yeah.
So just to know what our real compliance is and making sure that the people that we are giving these notices to, I know there was some discussion at the meeting that Councillor Hopper and I weren't at. There is no fine attached to this, and people need to know that. This isn't a fine. This is a, hey, we've asked you to do something. If you don't do it, then we're gonna come in and do it for you, and that's where the cost is taken on. So just to make sure people aware, because we might get a bigger compliance then when they know that, hey, if I don't do this, it's not just the town sending out a frivolous letter, it means action's gonna be taken. And great on the guys from the CSO department to follow up and make sure that we're keeping accountable on ourselves as well as our community. So that's a great stats.
And just for people out there, the town's super expensive, so it might not sound like a fine, but you should see how much it costs for them to mow your lawn.
That's a thing. We could attach a $250 fine, or you could get an $8,000 bill for
For a lawnmower.
taking down a derelict building or whatever it may be. So look after the things that you're being requested to ask. They're hopefully following the bylaw as written, so.
No, that's good. And same thing, building inspection, if there's nothing else in there, good report.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
And hopefully, Ola can answer it. She may not be able to at this time. But I see one of the issues to the correction center. That would be one, there's other ones here that possibly, but I don't know the context. But there would be no way that the town of the Paw could issue a building permit at the Paw Correction Center. We don't have the people to issue Part 3 building.
Which year is that? Let me check. I'll have to- We did not issue that, let me see.
It's saying $500.
Right, but you see dwelling unit is 0, right? Okay, I have to check with that. Sure. I was looking at 0 or something, so I have to.
Yeah, just follow, because we don't want to be issuing things that we shouldn't be doing, because we can get ourselves into a lot of trouble. So we want to make sure that the permits we're issuing, we have the right to be issuing. And,
Yeah, most
And
of
that's
these
because of the
things
size.
were done by our new staff. So I'll follow up with that.
That's because of the size.
It'd be fun to think.
yeah, because of the size of the building, like even the ones on Edwards Avenue, for example, if you start getting into that 6,500 square feet, we can't issue those permits. Or the type of residence that it may be, or the type of building it may be. Corrections, there's a lot of working parts there that a general Part 9 person would not understand, and that's why the office of Winnipeg typically would hang on to those. So
Okay.
just make sure we're not doing something we shouldn't, because then we get into a point where we have to either refund and it may delay a project, we may look questionable. So just make sure we're doing what we need to be doing.
Okay,
And it would be good, like, getting these every month is a great reoccurring thing, will help us build some of, not only with, this one on the building permits, but also with the CSO report, if that can come on a monthly basis, that would be great. Okay. Under unfinished business, so I know, Councillor Hopper and Councillor Manager were at more important things that Monday that we've had the discussion. So this goes around, we were talking about the, road signs again around schools, and I think we're all in agreement that, we're gonna do this. The only question, and I brought it up, was, do we do Gordon Avenue, because that sort of, it's a bit of a head scratcher for me. I'll support whatever the council decides to do. But then from reading, the issue sheet, highways and our staff say that we should just leave it the same all the time, so I'm good with that too. I just wanted to do a bit of a health check on it because it does. It's gonna cause, it'll need to be enforced. That's all.
And I feel exactly the same way. I would support either. It makes sense to have it consistent throughout the year, but I also understand some of the, I don't wanna call it backlash because safety should be the priority, but some of the fact that come July to the end of August, it is a minimal park area, it is a minimal traffic area. So I would also support if necessary to change Gordon Avenue, but I do agree with keep it consistent, that way there's nothing confusing to anybody. But
Consistent with other areas.
with the other areas that we're doing, if we're gonna do it year round, then let's just keep everything year round. But I do understand the argument that maybe Gordon could be,
Yeah,
because it's a thoroughfare through the community, it is number 10 highway. And the
Yeah.
nature of the park doesn't allow that heavy traffic
Yeah.
area or the kids to access areas like other parks do.
that's the other thing I see with Gordon Avenues is that I don't see, I know there's kids that cross the road. But there's no crosswalk at that corner. There's no crosswalk at 8th Street or whatever that street is. So, you know, they're not crossing to 7th anyways, where there's a controlled street light. They're not crossing, there's no residential street on the other side to drag people across the street. So I'm really not sure that we're reducing much risk of just slowing traffic at all on Gordon Avenue to 30, but like I said, I'll support, I support it overall, but I just that one area, I just don't know if it really makes sense, but that's fine.
And fencing has been put up on the east side. of the
Yeah,
road.
you can't cut across there anyway, so. So anyways, reading the issue sheet, I think, Sam and Tanvir told us that down the road, if we wanted to, if it was causing a bunch of grief, it could be revised to make it fit whatever. It's just a matter of taking down a few signs and changing the bylaw. So we'll move forward with the all year round, 8 AM to 6 PM, Monday to Friday. That's what we're sticking with, yeah.
Yeah.
On those areas, yeah, so that's what we're doing, so we'll bring forward the third reading of that, bylaw. Cause I think that's already sitting at third reading.
It's already done.
Oh, it's already done, okay.
Yeah. Now we can start over.
Okay, perfect. So, I know it's a little bit off topic, so please, somebody, not off topic, but. Can we, when we order these signs, is there a better deal on volume? Because I think we should do a bit of a survey of all of our signs in town. If you look at all the no parking signs going down Gordon Avenue. They're either all faded parks, got nothing on them. I think it's maybe time that be a good summer student project, maybe have somebody walk around and identify what signs we need and. Because like all the parking signs are all faded and if you look at Gordon Avenue by the school, you can't even see them. Down
Yeah,
to
based on what we budgeted for the project, highways appears to be interested in paying for the signages along the highways, so that would free up some money to
Okay,
add some additional signages. Obviously, the schools being our priority.
One other thing, but slightly off topic. We have the sign that was donated to the town right over by the lift station by Good Times for speed monitoring. Hasn't functioned in a while. Could we get that functioning and put it at that south end sign to say you're now 30? Because of course it is a high traffic area. If it's not being utilized there, maybe we could repair it and put it there just as an extra reminder.
I think for sure on that street on Gordon, for sure that's gonna need it.
Yeah, that would be a good one, because then we already have the equipment, unless of course it's damaged, not repairable, but I think it was donated, right, for,
Yeah, it belongs to MPI technically.
yeah,
Um,
so maybe if we could ask them to.
Yeah.
the whole history of it, but that pole, I believe, is concreted into the ground, so we're gonna have to buy a new pole just to
I'll give you all of it.
You got a skid steer that can drill holes
Yeah.
with holes, so.
I didn't say it would be difficult. It's a material cost.
It had this unfinished business, so that's a bit
Thanks.
of it. I know that they're.
Okay, so that's with that, moving on, there were some other questions with regards to, some of the property values that we talked about. With regards to Morse it was really a discussion when we were selling the property, we weren't sure what the assessed value was, so there it was. General correspondence, nothing. So moving along, anybody any questions of the financial statement of Tricom? Seeing none, Candera, I think, is that how you spell it? Candera? So anyways, her parade, great day to recognize and raise awareness, as she still is missing. Citizens period. Stop me if you guys want to talk about anything.
Oh, my citizens act. Where are we as council, in conversations with provincial government, number 10 highway coming through the community? Are they gonna put up, road signs, miles per hour, maybe only 15 kilometers an hour because the road is in such, no repair from what they did last summer? Have they talked about resurfacing it or?
Well, I can follow up with that. I did talk to them directly about that. And they were supposed to actually repair that, and I will send that guy that I was talking to another note on that
Last
specifically.
year, when they
Yeah.
made the mess, they said they were gonna.
Yeah, they're supposed to, and I talk, yeah, so I will follow up on that, and I'll give you guys, I'll give you guys a copy on that.
Just a note on people are driving, and I notice because I'm driving every day that people are actually not driving in the ruts, they're moving over.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the reason why they put that coating down was to actually fill in the ruts. The problem is that from my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, my understanding is the material they used was damaged and not functioning, and that's why it never actually took. So it's a good question if they were gonna resurface properly this year, because they didn't do it last year. So I will ask that question. I'm gonna write it down before I forget. So that's 10. And then the other highways, Mr. Citizen, we continue to advocate for that. If you guys go and have a look on the Manitoba government website, under infrastructure, there is a 5-year, multi-year plan on what they're doing, and it does highlight some of the roads in our area.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so moving into committee of the whole.
So we aren't speaking to the portable MRI?
That's a committee.
That's it.
Oh, it is too.
Councillors.
Resolved that we now move ourselves into the committee of the whole with Mayor Murphy in the chair to discuss matters requiring our attention.
It's the first time I got through without skipping something, and we try to catch up.
Let's go and find something.
Yeah, I do. Okay, portable MRI unit, everybody had a chance on that. Great thing to have within our community. I see no problems with it. Sooner it can be here, the better.
Just a question, I was looking at the map, is it gonna be next to the trailers that are there, correct?
No,
It'll be on the front of the building, it'll be along the front of the building, so the trailer itself will be facing east-west.
And that's not gonna, Department of Highways doesn't have any issues, lines of sight or anything?
So we're the traffic authority, we will consult with them to make sure that they're okay. There was a question brought up about the length of the trailer coming through town over that curvature just north of the site. We'll let the design team know about that concern. They are in discussion with Manitoba Highways about it, whether maybe they need a police escort as they come through or as they leave. They're just sort of sorting out those small details in the renderings that we provided that they shared with us. The line of sight currently will not change very much because the bushes that are currently in place. But that's sort of the fine tuning that we're gonna work with their design team on, because that is our kind of our biggest
Yeah.
concern.
conceptually, I guess what you're looking for is it makes sense, and this is what it looks like.
Yeah, everything that they provided, sort of that points that being the best spot for the greatest ease of in and out, proximity for their staff and people. We do also have some people here from the RHA and from Stantec, so if there was any additional questions.
Just once it's in place, take the wheels off it.
That will happen.
Couldn't be punctured.
No, I think down the long-term plan, I believe, is those type of things, with Thompson. May get something permanent. From my understanding, speaking to healthcare, is, the MRI unit will be in the pond in the winter time and right now, and it'll be in the spring, in the summertime, it'll be in Thompson. And then down the road, when they permanently land one, this one will likely become permanent somewhere.
Yeah, it was supposed to be operational in Thompson this week.
It's all,
It was supposed to be, but because of the pre-evacuation notices and that, they've canceled appointments, but it is already actually in
Yeah.
Thompson.
yeah, I have my friend is actually, one of them does that.
Yeah, so we're committed to working with them to move this forward. We just wanted to kind of give council information
Yep.
on sort of the plan is to kind of where we're at, and that maybe could address any concerns. But we're confident, I think, with the design, working with the design team, with the shared health on this.
Who moves a year? It's not gonna,
Right,
affect, like,
exactly.
logistically, it's not gonna be an issue. Yes, line of sight might be affected for a little bit. But as you said, the hedge is there and that's currently a sightline
Yeah.
issue, so it's just gonna be it's a little taller.
Correct,
Nothing
and
more
then,
protruding, so.
and even the width of those lanes there on the highway, like even if you stop at the stop sign and you creep a little bit ahead, I did it today. And it's,
Yeah.
there should be no issue there, and we'll work obviously with them.
Pros of having that in town versus any negative way of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, we can offer yourself a roofer.
Maybe a bigger sign for the no turns down Cook Avenue from the south.
We've noticed.
Is that happening more and more? I don't know, maybe that's.
I actually
Emergency.
had a request to take that sign down.
Yeah, it needs to be bigger and well lit.
Yeah.
Just because it is such a
Yeah.
congested corner.
No, absolutely. Okay, sounds good. So I think we're all supportive of that. Thanks for bringing that information forward. Pleasure. So excavator for the, cemetery, so, we did talk about, this with regards to our last, discussion. I'm sure this will be a utilized tool in, public works area as well for what they need it for. Well, I guess what council needs to be aware of is that we'll need to ramp up our reserve spending next budget. Or we need to start thinking creatively about leasing or getting small debentures to cover these things off so that it doesn't impact taxation. So it's something that I would hope that we would get, and maybe a recommendation coming from our controller that says the best way to do that. But either way, I think we need the tools. And the second part is as if we're gonna take it out of reserves, we just gotta ramp up our reserve spending next year.
Just two comments. They need the equipment. Last week, they actually did a grade by hand.
Yeah.
They couldn't get into it. We have a number of ventures that are maturing this year. Some have already done. I would hope that council, that money, we can throw that into our reserve.
Yeah.
Equipment reserve.
For next year, no impact on townships.
There's no impact on any taxation, and this will be the first start of the equipment.
Yeah.
Because we have, as you mentioned in your report, there's some big ticket items coming from, and all of that money goes into there and will be well spent.
Yeah, and I think that's where there needs to be a strategic discussion on understanding what the real 5-year plan is for equipment and development. And understanding that and then determining where the best way to move forward that is either through, as we said, debentures are coming close next year, you can just shift that money into reserves without having any impact. But down the road, you might want to take a debenture for, $5 or $10 million and spread that out again over 20 years and it's really no impact on the municipality.
Just a side note on that cemetery, we talked about a storage facility out there, CCAN dressed up as a building.
Yeah, there's been some discussion with Manitoba Hydro about if we are able to place the CCAN in a manner that's closer to the highway within a certain proximity, there will be no charge to connect power if we want to want like a small heater there to keep the hydraulics warm. I'm not quite there yet on that. I'm not there on that idea, like having it in the compound and safe and whatever. But the storage is something that will probably move forward with 2026 capital. I'm glad that this received like such a good response from council. Sometimes I feel I'm like a bit of a gatekeeper to the equipment reserve, and I sort of shun things that aren't public works necessarily. So I do appreciate you guys' vision on this.
I know you have been protecting, but
Well,
have some arguments on this.
you know, it's good, and you know, I think that, and I'm sure other counselors or other people in council are hearing, I think we're getting a lot of positive feedback on the level of maintenance and the changes that are out at the cemetery, that for people that are visiting, you know, their past loved ones. And, you know, down the road, you know, we laugh about power, but I wouldn't be completely against powering up and having some lights out there at some time down the road. And so, you know, whatever we think about going forward, don't think about just next year. We gotta think about the future and make sure this, whatever system we put in, we have to put a pole with a transformer on it, and let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so seeing nothing else with that, I think we just bring us a resolution for the next meeting and we'll get that.
Yeah, we'll put together some more pricing, some more like, there's a user that we were trying to get some pricing on, so we'll bring everything forward with analysis and.
So the next one, airport pressure wash, I'll just group these all together in the mower. I mean, this sounds like they need equipment there again. I'm assuming they have money in their reserves to cover that. But even with that, the amount of additional revenue that was generated from the fuel sales this year should easily cover that off. So I would say we need a resolution.
The only change I'd like to see.
Yeah.
This is no fault of Trevor's, it's just because he's working out of Winnipeg. Every price for the pressure washer came from out of Winnipeg. We do have 3
Yeah.
local suppliers. I would like
There's one,
to give them an opportunity at least.
it's north of 53 or the back.
They're not,
No,
Acklands. They can get anything that, North 53 can get anything Acklands has, but they are not Acklands.
yeah,
So it would be nice to see just some local opportunities. I said we've got,
I agree.
Fund them, but
Unfortunately, this is now a public document, so.
yeah,
it's
it does
sort of,
make it difficult.
but I think, as Councillor Manage said, we need to encourage local bids as well, especially for people that can supply this stuff, so. Maybe just let Trevor know. I just think it's not fair to these guys to now put that out.
Yeah, we mentioned this during our management meeting, not only Trevor, to all the
Yeah.
managers.
And then the mower, same thing, I mean, they've got a lot of grass to cut out there. I'm pretty confident none of this can be done here in town, so.
The only other one that could be possibly questioned would be the internet.
Yeah,
You do have ExploreNet, which is a Canadian company instead of Starlink.
Yeah.
Starlink is kind of the go-to because of marketing, but we do have Canadian options, which is part of the policy that we just invoked this
Yeah.
spring to try to seek out the Canadian companies first. So it would be nice
Yeah.
to see if there's something equivalent or to offer.
I just said, I think that, I'm not sure of the coverage of ExploreLink. So if it meets the criteria, I agree.
It is satellite imagery
Is it?
or satellite internet, so
So we can, yeah, no, I don't disagree. So again, we support the concept of having airport internet, but we also did pass something where we gotta do whatever's legally right with free trade agreements and all that, but we do want to encourage local spending as well. Okay. With that said, just bring us some resolutions for the next meeting and we'll take care of all that stuff. I don't see anything else here, so for all of our community members, we're talking about, we're gonna move it to camera. We've got some financial items to discuss, some lease rate agreements, and there will be no decisions really made until we bring it back to council and you'll see it there, but from there, we'll move to the camera.
It's up to me now, member substance being camera portion of the committee of the whole with Mayor Murphy and the chair to discuss matters required.
Oh, just one. Can I just add one question? I forgot to add one thing. I'll just talk to you about it in camera, it's about grants. Can I just stop you for a second?
Yeah.
If you guys don't mind if I just add this, so Canada Day, I forgot to give some recognition to Jackson. Jackson actually got a grant, I think I may have mentioned it, for $6,200 for Canada Day. And so there was no need for any community contributions on any of the, from any of the communities, because it more or less covered it, so Opaskwarak and the RM didn't have to kick in anything, and plus we deferred our fireworks, so that sort of never really had that big expense. So the town had allocated $5,000 for Canada Day, and I'm gonna ask council if they agree or not agree, because Opaskwarak Trails had a lot of damage, they're trying to raise some money, and I'm wondering if we should donate that 5,000 that we allocated already to that grant to Opaskwarak Trails. And so I could just give you some time to think about it. We could bring it to the next meeting to have a discussion. But it doesn't impact our budget. We already have allocated. It's a great attraction for our community. And I know they're, doing a 50-50 to cover $25,000 worth of damage.
Just might want to get a letter from the
Yeah,
committee saying they didn't use the money, they're gonna send it back to the town.
we didn't take it. We came here, the committee came and said, don't give us the money. We don't deserve, we don't need it.
But we have a resolution through our grants to give it to them.
I don't know if that's, yeah,
That was part of our grant.
yeah, okay, that's a good point. Yeah, we can do that, but
This covers it all.
yeah. So what do you think of Opaskwarak Trails?
Yeah, but they sustained quite a bit of damage there and
25,000?
I support the idea.
Okay, so what we'll do is maybe we can reach out to Paula or Sam or somebody reach out to Opaskwarak Trails. Ask them if they're interested. We'd obviously want to do it, and then I will get a letter just from the Canada Day saying we've already declined to check, so. So
Would that be a better way of doing it, is having them ask
them?
Yeah, to have the group that we designated to kind of not offer it, but to defer it, so it's not us and then choosing just where it's going, because it's not going through a selection process, I'm just worried about optics of it.
So I think Canada Day, you have to remember, Canada Day grant is really not a grant that we give a committee. It's an allocation of funds that we spend on Canada Day. So that's how that was developed, so we don't really write a check and give it to somebody.
But we were in this case, weren't we?
No.
Committee, no, I thought it was to
It was to go to the fireworks, so that was our contribution to
the, okay, I
fireworks.
thought it was into the building better tomorrow.
No, it's not going to
Okay,
anywhere.
that's who it's.
On the committee is myself and four other people, so, yeah, Jackson, Joe Martin. And, Debbie,
so 1,200 each.
yeah, well, that's what I was trying to get to, but couldn't convince anybody, and then we came up with this whistleblower issue. Anyways, okay, so we'll make those happen, and maybe what we could do is reach out to Opaskwarak Trails, ask them to send us a letter directly, and then we can, redirect some funds to them to help rebuild that, that's great. Okay, so, sorry, now to in-camera.
Resolved that we now move ourselves into the in-camera portion of the committee of the whole with Mayor Murphy and the chair to discuss matters requiring our attention.